for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venomfire here back from the video, and today we bring you guys my full updated Las Vegas Raiders offensive ebook. Now I made a video on this entire playbook earlier in the year, right when the game came out, but a lot has changed since then. Usually I'll make 2 or 3 videos on each playbook that's really popular throughout the year. And today we're going to be bringing you guys the updated Las Vegas Raiders offensive ebook, going over formations like I form close, I form H slot, strong close, gun trips tight end, gun bunch tight end. Just overall the most popular formations, how to run each one. It's going to be pretty brief as far as that's concerned. I've made separate videos on pretty much all of these formations. So if you want more on each formation, you can definitely go check those out. But in this video, I'm just going to kind of put them all together and show you guys a couple of my favorite setups from each formation and how I like to audible around, things like that. Make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button. About 77% of my viewers are not subscribed, so if that's you, you're watching, I know you're not subscribed right now, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description. But yeah, we're going to start out with the gun trips tight end formation. Now, the way that I like to run it online is I like to put a running back at one of these slots. Usually I'll put it in this middle slot right here. The reason for that is I can not only audible down to strong close, but I can also audible down to I form close and I form slot, my 2 favorite running formations in the game. And yeah, we're just going to start out with that. So again, I'm not going to go over a complete gun trips tight end offense. I've made tens of videos on that, a whole lot of trips tight end videos. So again, I'm just going to go over some brief setups just out of like these 4 plays. Now again, there's other plays like PA counter go, inside cross, verticals. But overall, I'm just going to go over these basic few plays. I'll actually go over PA counter go pretty briefly here. Now as far as abilities for the offense, I'm going to be using the Buccaneers, so I have Hot Route Master. Again, depending on if you want to build your offense around trips tight end or strong close, the players you have, it can all be different. I do recommend getting Hot Route Master and Gunslinger at least, but again, it can vary. But again, mostly we're going to want at least a tight end apprentice if you don't have Hot Route Master, Backfield Master, and yeah, overall that's probably the most that you want. And then again, you have extra AP to do whatever you want. But yeah, we're going to start out with gun trips tight end. I'm going to be running man coverage, zone coverage, kind of the basic stuff here. So we're just going to go ahead and set that up. I'll start out with just a stock man-to-man coverage. So starting out, we got this PA counter go. Just a basic setup I like to go to is just going to be to streak your tight end here. You're going to block your running back, and then you're just going to flat Y and slant X. We're going to motion our slant route over across the formation like this. We have a crosser, we have a slant, we have a flat. Very good play against zone and man coverage. We have a just basic kind of a high-low read between not only the crosser and the slant, but also the slant and the backside flat. If we switch over to zone coverage here, you see the play still is going to work. We just have extra options. Now, if I like to, I can put Y on an out route instead. Just depends on what you want. Again, for our first setup, we're also going to block our running back here, but you see, just kind of step up in the pocket and throw that laser over the top of the cloud flat. Now, the next step to running this play is going to be putting your running back on a flat. So again, this is more again zone coverage. Again, it's not going to burn man. But again, it is an extra option for our first setup. Again, here's a look at what we're going to do. Just gives us an extra flat route. Gives us some more space to throw that crosser as far as pulling down routes go. Now they got a really good press there. Usually this crosser will beat man coverage, but with the right animation, you saw it get back there. So be careful. It's not necessarily guaranteed to burn man coverage every single time. As far as some other setups with PA counter go, I like to put my tight end on a post route and then kind of run the exact same thing. We're just going to flip our wide receiver and our tight end. So here I'm going to put Evans on a streak route. I'm going to keep Jones on his route, keep Fournette on his route, but again, we're just going to run something like this instead. Again, just good to mix these routes up. He's not going to be expecting a tight end post. Just a good way to use that crosser, but to mix up your setup completely. Again, one more time, just A on a post, and here's the rest of this setup. X on a streak, Y on a flat, and you are good to go. Now again, like I mentioned, I'm going to be going through very quickly through these setups. I've gone over this trips formation a lot, so I've probably gone over all of these setups in videos. Again, strong close, I've made separate videos on that, so I'm going to go through relatively quickly through all of these. So again, if you want to slow down, you definitely can do that. But let's move on to just inside zone here. Now, inside zone, very, very solid to run. As far as inside zone goes, it's best to do this little stop and go and cut back to the outside. I think we've all learned that from watching the club championship as Fournette just ends that man's career. Yeah, this little stop and go. Inside zone, really, really underrated out of gun trips tight end. A lot of people are just looking to throw 10 times or just 30 times a game. But this inside zone is really, really good. As you see, we're just able to consistently cut that back, especially against people running man coverage, where they're going to have their 3 defensive backs on that left-hand side. It's really easy to take advantage of that. Again, you can get shedded. They can have leverage with their user on that right side, so don't just look to cut it back every time. But if it's open, you can even cut it back inside like this. But you see just really overall very successful run. You can mix in some motion to confuse your opponent, run inside zone, then motion Ronald Jones over like this. That is something that I do recommend doing. And then you can still cut it back left or to the right. Again, when you motion that receiver, it's just going to add some more guys to that right side, so the cutback's not going to be as good. But again, your opponent will not expect the run as much, if that makes any sense. Anyways, let's move into, let's go with curl flat here. Curl flat's one of my favorite plays. Again, I'm going to go through some basic setups. Some more complicated stuff is, again, on my channel, but our first setup is just going to be A on an out route and just snap the ball. So we got A on an out route. Now, this is definitely more of a zone coverage play, I would say. Depends on the setup. We got around 2 setups I'll probably run. But again, as far as basics go, the tight end can burn man coverage. Chris Godwin can burn man coverage. Fournette, obviously, is on a delayed Texas route. That beats man coverage. And then this curl route can occasionally get separation against it. It really does depend. Now, it's going to be better against zone coverage, as you would expect with a curl flat type concept. Again, just kind of step up in the pocket. I can easily throw that to B there. I could have thrown it to RB on the left side. Usually against cover 2, you're looking at that flat route. Against cover 3, I believe the curl route does get open. It really does depend on the style of coverage that your opponent is running. But again, one more time, here's a look at our first setup. I'm just going to show it against everything. And here, we're just going to check down to Y. Again, kind of a hot read play. In more of a quick snap type play, we're not using any motion, so we want to get the ball off as quickly as possible. As far as our second setup with curl flat, and I'm going over 3 setups, our second setup for this play, we're going to go ahead and just drag B and smart out A. So here's a look. Again, just some basic route combinations. You see A is going to get separation over the top, just lob past that. If there's a deep half, that's more of a risky throw. Sometimes there won't be a deep half on that strong tight end side. Again, just drag B, again, more of a zone coverage beater, cover 2, things of that nature. Again, don't be afraid to throw it to Fournette as well. That route's very difficult to guard with a user even. And overall, just the middle of the field threat is going to be very, very solid for you guys. So again, one last time, just smart out A, drag B. Let's go with cover 3 here. We'll snap the ball a little bit early. And you see I'm just going to step up, check down to Y. Depending on the coverage, I've seen Y open, X open. It depends on their zone drops, all of that stuff. But that curl route's definitely open part of the time. Just against these stock coverages isn't going to do as well as you would expect. We got one more setup for this curl flat play, though, and it's going to be just to streak A. You can smart out B if you want. It depends on what you like. But smart out B, we're going to block our running back, and we're just going to slant X. So similar, very, very similar to the PA counter go. We just got a little bit of a different post route. If one's struggling against man coverage, this is definitely a route combination that you could do. You see Chris Godwin, he's got separation, even though he doesn't have the most speed. Evans has separation. Again, one more time here, just streak A and slant X. Block your running back. Again, good against man, good against zone. Just gives you some overall good options in the play. Step through, throw that to X, and you're off to the races. So, again, we got 2 more passing plays. Starting out with this X spot play, what we're going to do is simply just cross A, zig B, and fade X, block your running back. So here's a look at our setup. We're going to motion Ronald Jones over on his corner route, turn that into a post route right here, and then we're just going to snap it right about here. So very good against man coverage. 3 man coverage beating routes. Now with your running back getting Alvin Kamara, someone with high speed, Barry Sanders, that you can put at receiver that would still be able to get open. Guys like that are going to be very, very successful and beneficial to your offense. Again, here's a look at that setup: A on a cross and B on a zig, X on a fade, and block your halfback. Again, just motion Ronald Jones over across the formation, snap him right about there. Again, just overall pretty good flood concept. That crosser is very, very deadly with more speed. Gronkowski's on the slower end, so he's not going to get as good of separation as you would hope for. As far as some other setups that you can do, what I like to do is, again, kind of piggybacking off that setup. What I would do is I would slant B, cross A, and then I would just flat my running back. So here's something that you could definitely go ahead and do. Just a little bit different. Again, it just gives you options, more man coverage beating routes. Again, if your opponent's sending 2 people, you're not going to block your running back ever. And this is just another option to send him out on the field. Again, though, here's a look at our setup. Just B on a slant or B on a flat, A on a crosser. Again, this is only trips tight end, so I got to go through pretty quickly here. But yeah, just looking at our options. You see Ronald Jones, he's a running back, so he's not getting, and he's a lower overall running back with not good route running, so he's going to get bags on stock man-to-man coverage. Again, all of these setups do work against zone coverage as well. Now, we got one more setup for this play. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to corner out B, I'm going to streak X, and I'm just going to motion Ronald Jones over, and I'm going to drag my tight end. So here's a look at what we're going to do. Motion him across and just snap the ball. We've got a little basic kind of corner out, post route offense. You can go ahead and backside flat your running back if you want to. Again, here, just drag A, corner out B, streak X, just a basic combo. Again, I can flat if I want to. I like to motion them all the way across for this one. But yeah, you see the corner rout's going to beat man coverage, just something a little bit different. Not too many corner routes in that trips tight end offense. Anyways, our last and final play. I'm just going to go over one setup for this play because, again, I got to start going through some of the other formations. Again, we have a lot. But again, I went over PA post shot a lot in that J-Wall video, so you can check that out. But with PA post shot, you're mainly going to kind of build around Mike Evans, so a basic setup that you can run. And this is the only one I'm going to go over is just a running back on a Texas route, B on a slant, A on a flat, and Y on a flat. You're going to smart route X. And just like this, very, very good basic combination. Gives you a couple of man coverage beating options. Good against man, good against zone. Again, with the setup, smart route X, flat Y, flat A, slant B, and Texas route RB. Again, here, boom, I could throw it to B. X usually is going to be good. It depends on what coverage your opponent's running. If he's shading over the top, usually it'll be it. Sometimes when he gets jammed, as he's getting right now, he's not going to get as good of animations. One time against cover 2. Again, I do apologize for going so quickly, but again, this is only our first formation, so that kind of gives you an idea on what we got to do. But yeah, here's a look at the setup. Boom. Again, zone coverage. Very successful. I could have thrown that to Evans late as well. But with that being said, let's move into strong close. Now, I'm going to separately come out in strong close, but just to show you that you can audible with a running back, here's a look at me audibling, and we'll actually show the first play. Now, with strong close, it's important, again, that your tight end is on the short side of the field like this. For a first basic setup, you're going to put A on a post, Y on a wheel, and B on a slant, just like this. Motion B across the formation and snap the ball. Very good against man coverage. You see pretty much all the routes are open besides that wheel route, but yeah, very successful against man coverage. And yeah, we're actually going to separately come out in that strong close here. Also, as far as your audibles are concerned with this, the plays that we're going to go over are going to be wide receiver out, halfback dive, FL drive, PA deep cross, and then PA deep. I'm just going to start out in PA deep kind of briefly here. It's pretty good against man coverage. That's kind of the focus of the play. So if they're playing cover 0 here, basically the setup you would go with is going to be RB on a flat, A on a post, Y on a wheel, and X on a slant, just like this. Motion Chris Godwin over. This is the only setup for this PA deep play, but Chris Godwin's usually going to get separation on this crosser route. Just lob pass it over the top, and you see the separation is there. So I'll show it one more time here. But yeah, this is the play you're going to run with PA deep, A on a post, X on a slant, RB on a flat, and Y on a wheel. Motion Chris Godwin across the formation, but usually at a strong close, you're taking one route that you like, kind of building around it. Here's a look at it against zone coverage. You see this is route combos kind of a hot read play, so if you wait long, you see we have 3 routes kind of in the same area. That's not what you want to do. But again, you saw it more of a man coverage play. This play is not used a whole lot by me. I have other plays that I would like to go to a little bit more than that, but I'll just show it briefly as I did. Moving on to our other plays, let's just start out with the halfback dive. Pretty basic run. Again, it's not the best. I would go with other runs, and out of halfback dive, out of strong close, you can still audible to I form slot and I form close, which is a reason that the halfback dive is not used a whole lot by strong close players, but you can use some motion to kind of manipulate. It's a pretty easy 5 yards, and with the potential of some half decent stick work, you can definitely take some of these to the crib. Again, just basic halfback dive, and you see it's pretty difficult to shoot this run. Moving on, I'm going to hop back into this FL drive. Now, there was a really good cover 3 beater out of this. It was patched. Cover 3 is a lot better now at defending those bombs. But again, the setup for this is just going to be A on a post, B on a slant, and Y on a wheel route. We already have RB on a flat, so we don't have to put him on that. But yeah, overall, just a very good combo. You always want like a deep post route in any playbook or any offensive scheme that you're running, any formation, just because it's always good against cover 2, man coverage, just to have a deep threat on the field at any time. Again, here's a look at our setup. Just going to motion him across like so and kind of snap the ball here. Boom, you see RB is open. Your first read should always be Fournette in that flat route. That's going to be a common theme throughout the video, most likely, is just throwing that because, again, that's your first read. That's who you're always looking at. He's usually going to be on that flat route. But yeah, as far as FL drive is concerned, the other route combo that was a very good, successful, and you could still run it if you want to, was something like this, where you have B on a hitch, you have A on a corner route. This corner route would pull down the zones. X, you could throw it over the top. Again, it's not as good against cover 3 now, but it's still throwable. You're going to kind of motion them over like this, and you see it could get open. As far as other routes with B, you could leave them on that hitch, which is kind of what I like to do, but I could also throw them on like a backside flat. So just to create more space with your wheel route, you could definitely do this. Now, the reason I don't like this route combo too much, you have no middle of the field threat at whatsoever, so really it's going to be easy to use her. But that wheel route does kind of get inside, and a double flat won't necessarily cover it. And yeah, so let's move into our next play, which is going to be this wide receiver out. And again, made a separate video on this formation as well, out of San Francisco offense, which is an even better strong close than Raiders. But yeah, moving on, we got this wide receiver out. There's a better play called angle out in 49ers playbook. Again, we don't have that in Raiders, but this play is basically the exact same thing. And with the hot routes you're making, it's going to be dang near the exact same thing. Now, the routes I like out of this are going to be Mike Evans, specifically against man coverage. Mike Evans very, very solid here. Again, what we're going to do is we have Gronkowski on a post stock, so I like to just throw beyond kind of a backside slant here. Now, as far as putting your running back on a wheel, you kind of could here. I feel like it gets a little bit congested. You could if you want to, but yeah, here's a look at just a basic, kind of a clean route combination. You see Mike Evans, gets on a very quick break. Even a slow receiver like him gets very nice separation there. So obviously, that's definitely a pass that we like to throw. Again, just be on a slant, block your running back. This is a pretty quick play, just kind of a basic play. You want to have a couple of like basic plays like this that can catch your opponent off guard. You see late in a situation, it's again not that good. Really what you would be looking to run this play against is either, again, man coverage, or if they go with like a double flat type setup, so they would probably run something like this, where they would hard flat him, and then they would go ahead and hard flat him, just like this, kind of a basic double flat setup. So if you were to run wide receiver out, this would give you a whole lot of options with the slant, the post route, and then obviously you don't know what coverage he's running, but the flats would probably be defended, and you would just make a read over the middle of the field like this. But yeah, those are kind of the coverages that you would run this against. Not very good against, stock zone coverage with a lot of routes in the middle or zones in the middle of the field. But yeah, moving on, we got one last setup for you guys out of this PA deep cross. What we're going to do here is we're going to post A, flat RB, and wheel Y, just like this. We're going to motion Chris Godwin from right to left. This is a very decent play against man coverage as well. You have a crosser, post, just overall some good options. Again, this is kind of a play you want to throw earlier because, again, right there, we're just in a bad situation. Kind of just completely missed my read. I slid over to the wrong side. But yeah, with this play, I meant to come out in man coverage, which is why I got kind of confused by the zone there. But what you want to do, again, here's a look at our route combination. Now, a couple of things are tricky about this route combo that you have to just get a little bit better at. The post and the wheel going to the same side, they're meant to be thrown a little bit earlier. I think I accidentally put Mike Evans on a slant there. But yeah, there's a couple of tricky things out of this offense in particular. When you're going with a consistent route combo like this, it's important that you know that you can't really wait to throw it. It depends on the coverage, but a lot of times the wheel route, it's going to run into you. So if you're going to throw it, you got to throw it like right there. That's the point of it. With the tight end, it's the same thing. You want to throw it kind of inside the numbers or a step outside. You never really want it to cross the numbers unless it's heavy zone coverage, but a lot of times that wheel route is going to cause you a lot of trouble if you wait too long. Again, let's hop into some man coverage here just to showcase it a little bit more. With route technician, Chris Godwin's going to get separation. If not, he's not really going to get too much separation there. You see with Mike Evans, killer crosser right here, just can low ball it. Again, pretty good separation. Always good to have a stock crosser in the offense as well, especially if you don't have hot route master or a wide receiver apprentice. But yeah, it's going to do it for this play. Not too many other setups I like to go with this PA deep cross other than this one. There's obviously a couple of other things you could go ahead and do. But again, that is in separate videos out of strong close. But let's talk about the Audible system a little bit. So again, I mentioned that the other formations we're going to talk about are going to be the I-form close and the I-form H slot. So personally, I like to audible from strong close to I-form close. Then I like to audible from trips to I-form slot. And again, I'm going to talk about bunch tight end later. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so as far as those audible systems, I don't really like to go from trips tight end to strong close or I-form close. I'm usually going from trips to I-form slot. I just feel like those work better together, and then strong close and I-form close work better together. So right now we're going to go into I-form close a little bit. We have three basic runs: power O, ISO, stretch. Now if you're running strong close, you're obviously looking to throw, but in running situations, there's not really too many runs better than like a basic halfback power where you motion over and you're going to get really good blocks up the middle. Now, the only issue with this audible system is that if you're trying to run the ball, you're going to have a running back at fullback. That guy's not going to pick up blocks. It's not really a huge issue if you ask me, but it's something to mention. Again, power O, this is the best run in the entire formation. You're just going to flip it usually, and you more than likely are going to get pretty good blocks as we did there. Getting a little bit of help with the auto broken tackle, but overall, very solid run if you ask me. We got the halfback dive. Again, if you're going to run halfback dive, I would just run it out of strong close. Not really a reason to audible and then run dive if you ask me. So that's kind of a useless run. It's just there because it's there. In addition, we have stretch. Stretch is going to be good to mix in if you want a little bit of something different. If you don't come out and off tackle and you want an outside run, this is something you could do. We did get shedded there, but the stretch is pretty decent. It was patched a little bit. It's not as good as it once was, but it's something you could definitely go ahead and do if you needed a run, if he's kind of shooting your dive. As far as the pass play, we got PA tight end league. This play is decent against cover 3. It has a couple of good man coverage beating routes. This Gronkowski route's pretty good. I can easily create a route combination kind of similar to our FL Drive one, but one thing out of I-form close is that you cannot put Fournette on the flat unless you motion him out, so I would have to motion him out, and at this point, I'm basically running exactly FL Drive. Basically, what there would be is less of a threat because I can't motion Godwin out, so I would have to motion Fournette back in, and then he's going to flip. So you can't really do it that way. I would have to go with something kind of like this, or I would just block him. But overall, there's something you can do, and I meant to put Gronkowski on that post route, but there's some things you can create with that play. Overall, there's no reason to pass out of I-form close, though, if you're going to be in strong close. If I want to audible down, or if I want any threat of passing the ball, I'm going to come out and trips head in and then audible to these. Or just come out in strong close because there's not going to be a threat to pass out of any of these I-form formations. Anyways, we're going to show off this audible system from trips tight end to I-form slot very briefly. Then again, we'll hop into the bunch tight end because I got some good setups. Now, this isn't a very good bunch tight end, if that makes any sense. We have some of the big plays like PA boot over. Obviously, the inside zone is pretty solid, but I'm not really going to talk about inside switch. Curl flat corner is a decent and unique play. I might bring that up briefly, but again, we're going to mainly focus on PA boot over because that's what you would do, audible from trips to PA boot over. That's kind of the idea behind it. But yeah, let's show off trips to audibling down very briefly here. Make sure that your trips are on the wide side of the field and that you are able to audible down so that your receivers would be on the wide side when you audible the I-form slot. Again, I made a separate video on this formation as well. But yeah, just very, very good stretch. This is a really good stretch just because it's difficult to gap shoot this one in particular. It's just overall a pain to deal with. You have to worry about the RPO. You can't necessarily stack the box or commit. Now, as far as my audibles, I have the stretch alert bubble and the dive alert bubble. There's not really, again, any good passes out of this. You could create things with Hot Route Master, but again, I kind of talked about passing a little bit in that video, but you see just the RPO there. But yeah, this is just a headache to defend. If they're running the big nickel over G run defense, they can't shoot out of that. The nickel 3-3-5 wide is not good against this as well. So if you're ever running the ball and you come out in trips tight end, I recommend audibling to I-form slot rather than strong close or I-form close, but you could do that if you want. It's just an overall simpler audible if you ask me. It's just a little bit cleaner, faster, so it's not as clumped together. Your opponent doesn't have as much time to adjust. Just because the receivers are going to stay out there. Just see how quickly it goes. It's not very fast. You have the running back coming from receiver. The tight end just kind of adjusts, and you can snap the ball relatively quickly here. But you see the run just against a stock basic defense is going to do pretty good numbers against it. I'll show the dive one more time. But again, for more on these formations, I have made separate videos even on this I-form slot, which is not exactly the most popular play. But yeah, you see dive, stretch, easy yards up the middle, especially if they're playing pass coverage defense. You catch them in a quick hike or whatever, but overall, very successful run scheme. With that being said, let's hop into the bunch tight end. Now, if you're running Raiders playbook, you're more than likely going to be running strong close or trips tight end, but it's good to always have a couple of formations to audible between. There's also gun bunch. There's a couple of good plays in here like spacing switch. I believe there's flood. There's flood. There's also, bench pivot. It's a decent gun bunch. There's Z-spot, space. This would pretty much be my audibles. You also have things like bunch trail. So it's a very good, very underrated gun bunch offense. Again, I'm not going to talk about it because if you're running Raiders, you're more than likely not going to be running gun bunch at all. But yeah, you could easily run gun bunch out of this, and it's very usable with all four of those plays. You could easily build a simple scheme around it. But let's talk about bunch tight end. Again, I'm mainly going to go over PA boot over and curl flat corner. Just going to give some basic setups again out of this as well. As far as some setups I would run, you go with the stock setup with A on a delay fade. Just kind of run this, roll out, and then send him off. The guy that's man up on the tight end goes, and you easily have a route. I've made a separate video on bunch tight end. I've also made separate videos on this play in particular. That's how good it is. Again, just A on a delay fade, snap the ball. You have man coverage beaters. I could throw the drag route. I could throw the crosser route. That deep post can get open with route technician, but overall you have some good options there. Again, just A on a delay fade. You're going to cancel the play action, roll out. Now make sure you don't send him too early, which is exactly what I did there. You have to wait for that guy to come in. Now Tom Brady's really slow, so it's not going to be good with him, but with Rich Gannon, with Josh Allen, with Herbert, with Mahomes, with anybody, it's going to be a lot better for you. But you see, overall, it's a really good stock play, one of the best in the entire game. Moving on, some other things you could do with the play. I could go with like just a backside slant, so I could probably like streak A, I could table route RB, just something kind of basic like this. Maybe I want a flat X, but overall, we can use the crosser to create some nice combos. That deep post is a lot of times kind of useless. It's just a little bit, it's just going to pull the zones a little bit vertically up the field, so you can easily take that away. Again, that setup was A on a streak, RB on a flat, X on a flat, and be on a slant like this, motion them across the formation. But yeah, just creating some basic route combinations with one route that we like and building around it. Again, man coverage, we have beaters there. Zone coverage, we have some beaters as well. Just overall giving us some nice options. As far as the other routes and plays I want to focus in on, I got inside zone. My favorite way to run inside zone is to motion this player outside because that's going to pull the linebacker outside. Now, if they're using it, that's not going to work. But again, out of 3-3-5 wide, usually what's going to be the case is going to be this outside corner will sometimes be man up on Mike Evans, which could be the case here. But again, if that linebacker's man up, you could just motion him outside. It's going to shift everybody to the left side, and then you can run it up the middle. That's the best way to run inside zone, no doubt about it. Again, if I wanted to, I could obviously like motion Chris Godwin out and then snap it. But again, you see it's just going to get an extra guy in the middle of the box either way. So you want to motion that inside guy outside, if that makes any sense. As far as curl flat corner, you see it's not going to be a good play stock, but we got a couple of routes that I like, mainly with Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown is on a unique route. We're going to smart route it. And overall, I like to create a Z-spot type concept. So I'm going to streak B, I'm going to out route X. And then with A, I could like either post route him here. I could also drag route him here. Now, he doesn't have playmaker, and he's not coming from the outside, so it's not going to be as good as something like Z-spot, but that's easily something you could run. Usually what I would do is probably post route him, or I would create like a flood concept, something like this probably. Yeah, you definitely have options as far as that's concerned. You see Antonio Brown getting pretty good separation there. Now he doesn't have route tech. He's on the slower spectrum of wide receivers, so the separation against the man's not going to be there, but even against like cover 2 here, you see same route combinations that you could do. Now, not only can I do like this streak concept, I could also go with B on like a crossers and A on the drag, something like this. I could table route RB. So this is a very similar Z-spot concept, just out of a different formation. This play is heavily underused because, again, I don't believe it's in some of those popular bunch tight end formations like Jets or playbooks like Jets, Lions. I don't believe. This is a very unique play, and it's actually, I think, exclusive to Raiders and a couple of others. But again, just giving you guys some ideas that you could do. Here's a look at one of my favorite route combinations out of this play. Again, man coverage, you can throw the crosser. Again, zone, it's going to be even better. But yeah, just giving you guys options. Again, there's some other plays I haven't touched up on, like inside switch. Just to give you examples, here's something I would run. Motion Antonio Brown in. We got a post, we got a slant, we got a flat. It's just a lot of the same stuff out of this Raiders playbook. But overall, you have a ton of options. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and peace. I'm out of here.